March 1st. Made it through the winter, pretty much. That's how I view it.
20 days till spring.
Made it through the winter, not unscathed. Not unscathed.
No.
But made it through the winter. So low-hanging fruit. Could start a lot of different ways. So let's just get some baseball cooking right now. And Sandy Alderson, of course, spoke to the media. A little zoomy zoom with Sandy Alderson. And he said something very interesting. A couple things I find very interesting. Number one, that even Steve Cohen's money has an end to it, meaning that if the thought amongst players, agents, and the rest of the league was that we're going to throw sensibility to the wind and just overpay to get everybody, that is not going to happen. We're willing to compete with every other team for guys that we want, but there's the notion of the drunken sailor spending not on the table. That's not how you become a multi-billionaire. You go after things aggressively when you want them, but there's also some business common sense, and that is, how much is a guy worth? What are you willing to pay for that guy? And that's that. And that's pretty much the way this entire offseason went. Legitimate offers made to 3 or 4 big-name free agents. Other teams were willing to either go extra years or extra money. The Mets got to a line where they didn't want to cross. Nothing cheap about that. That's called business acumen. That's the first thing I took.
Everything you said was fine. I didn't like the way Sandy said it.
You didn't like the way he said it?
No, I didn't like the way he said it.
You were sensitive to the way he emoted it?
Correct. And I think Sandy, who I like, and I have defended many a time, I think Sandy's biggest issue sometimes is he does not express his thoughts in the best way.
Okay.
And so I got on him a few years ago, not for admitting the Mets weren't in on Giancarlo Stanton, but making this little zinger of, who needs Giancarlo? We have Brandon Nimmo. At the time, it came across like a joke that wasn't funny.
So
we all know Steve Cohen has limits. Like, everything you just expressed is true. I'm not arguing with you, but why do you have to say it in that way? Why do you have to say it in that way?
Give me the context that bothered you. Because content-wise, I think we're on the same page.
I agree.
It happened exactly the way we just put out.
Even
so what was
Steve
the context?
Cohen runs out of money, or even Steve Cohen has his limits. Why? Why do you have to say that? You can express the exact same thing that you expressed, that I've expressed. I mean, I was against signing George Springer. And my reason was exactly what Sandy said, which is you're going to have to sign Michael Conforto. The New York Yankees have limits. We all know that. But you don't hear Hal Steinbrenner expressing it in that kind of way. I just didn't like the way it was expressed. I'm being honest with you.
Fair enough.
Rubbed me a little bit the wrong way. It's nothing against Steve Cohen. I like Steve Cohen. I think his first offseason was fine. I think Sandy Alderson can sometimes be clunky with the way he expresses things.
Fair enough. I didn't read into it that way, but I hear you. I get what you're saying. I see where you're coming from. It's also not what Met fans want to hear. Obviously,
that's a part of it.
At the end of the day,
that's a part
you don't care if it's a 6 year or an extra $30 million, whatever the case may be. You want a guy when you want a guy, and we're all guilty of this as fans, because it's in theory not our money, although you can make the argument it is in part, that when we want a guy, we want our owners to go get the guy, especially now that it's Cohen and not the Wilpons.
Well, that's the thing. That's why
go get the guy we want.
That's why this thought could have been expressed in a very different way. Even though you're saying the exact same thing. Like, of course we are willing to spend money. We offered Trevor Bauer $40 million a year. We offered George Springer a 5-year deal well over $100 million. But we have limits on individual players. We made that decision with these two guys. If Mike Trout ever became a free agent, he won't. Maybe there won't be any limits. Maybe it'll be, look, he's Mike Trout. We're going to go all the way to get it done.
Here's what Sandy Alderson said. We don't think George Springer's worthy of 6 years.
I agree.
And we made the decision. Now, listen, we only wanted to give him a can 3, but when the only way to get the deal done was to go to 4, we thought that was okay. Yeah. I know it's $10 million per. Right. But with George Springer, we just didn't think that George Springer was worth a 6-year, so we backed out of the deal. Here's the real part of it. And he said it in the quote that Act just played there, and that is, and this I don't buy, if they had gone the 6th year for Springer and were willing to pay $150 million, all in, that was going to negatively impact their ability to re-sign Conforto. That's basically what he just said.
Well, paying George
Lindor's going to get paid. I'm not worried about him.
But I agree with that to a certain extent. Now, I don't know if the difference between a 5th year and a 6th year would have meant you can't sign Conforto, but paying George Springer, who will be a corner outfielder within the next couple of years, let's call it like it is. He's a center fielder right now in the moment. Is he a center fielder in year 3 of the contract?
Probably not.
Probably not. So, of course, it would hinder the ability to keep Michael Conforto, which is a part of the reason why I, as a Met fan, was against the idea of signing George Springer.
Yeah.
So I buy it. Now, if your point is, but Evan, what's the difference between a 5th and 6th year? I kind of see where you're coming from.
Sure.
Why would that 1 year make a difference? But my reasoning, without expressing it the way Sandy expressed it, which, again, I think is a little clunky, is that, yeah, if you lock up Springer to a long-term deal, what does that do to Michael Conforto, who is a priority for me as a Met fan? I would rather have Michael Conforto on this team for the next 5 years than George Springer.
Well, now there's no reason not to get that done. And they said the focus this offseason now is obviously extending those deals. I guess Syndergaard's name was mentioned. He's different because coming off the injury. He's not a pressing re-sign today as much as getting Lindor into contract and Conforto is.
But in terms of the Lindor contract and the Conforto contract, forget Syndergaard because I think it is different, like you said. Why would these discussions begin soon? Why soon? Why haven't they started weeks and months
That
ago?
could also be on the agent side, the player side. Who knows?
Lindor, but the players have said we haven't started talking yet. Why?
I'm not putting that only on the Mets. Listen, there's especially with the Zoom crap these days, and we have Zoom meetings. Zoom this, Zoom that. The player's agent might not be ready to have the conversation. I'm not putting that on the Mets. It seems like their focus now is getting at least Lindor done.
Get it done.
And maybe Lindor and Conforto done. Here's what I love about the first day that games are played in the spring. The overreaction. I love it. Tyone pitched the perfect 1-2-3. He gave up 2 deep fly balls today. Now, they're both caught. Dead ball. Dead ball. Dead ball helping the Mets. Garrett Cole gave up a home run. Slow your roll. Across the board, please. It's like, this happens every year. We're going to come in here April 2nd, and we're going to say what? So-and-so is on pace for 2,000 RBIs. That's got to be. It happens every year, right?
Yes.
And I'm sure we'll be guilty of saying it because it's fun to say. It's fun to say. If he keeps up this pace, he might actually break the Major League Baseball record for 300 home runs in a season.
Wait, so you don't
That's on the table.
You don't want to get excited that Gary Sanchez just hit a monster home run for the New York Yankees?
I've been telling you all
doesn't
along.
excite you?
Home run.
Gary Sanchez is going to be the comeback player of the year this year.
Hold on. Wait a second.
Go ahead.
Okay, it just landed. That's how far Gary's home
Pretty
run
good
was.
shot, right?
You should be excited.
Pretty good shot. Now, there's another thing that we're going to get to throughout the day today, which I think is right up our alley. And one of those situations where Evan and I can sit back and we can say, told you so. And it's all these ridiculous, alleged sports insiders. Guys that think they know this, that think they know that, who make promises and projections about where a guy's going, what he's going to, all that crap, right? So for the last 3 weeks, almost, we've been talking about J.J. Watt. Where's J.J. Watt going to go? I've watched every NFL insider, every one of them on multiple networks. He's probably going to Green Bay. Good chance he goes to Tampa. His brother's playing Pittsburgh. He's going to go to Pittsburgh. Don't forget, he played in Wisconsin in college. He's definitely going to Green Bay. And on and on and on. And then lo and behold, J.J. Watt signs a 2-year deal with the Arizona Cardinals.
No one mentioned
that
them.
Nobody saw it coming. And the reason I bring it up is because of Deshaun Watson and the New York Jets. There's another report out there today, also not based on any fact at all, that there are now 3 teams on his wish list, or on the Houston Texans wish list. There's another report out there today that the Texans are now all of a sudden accepting phone calls from different teams. When we left here on Friday, not only were they not taking calls, there was the allegation that people were leaving voicemail trades. And now 2 days later, they're now accepting calls all of a sudden. They can't get their story straight. But here's what worries me from a Jet fan perspective. If all your off-season plans as a Jet fan, as we are based on the rare opportunity to acquire a top 5 quarterback in the NFL who's 25 years old, and we know there's going to be competition to land that guy. Here's the problem with today, and today alone. The Arizona Cardinals just joined the race. And by taking on J.J. Watt going to the Cardinals is really significant because it tells you that the Cardinals believe they are close.
So they're going to trade Kyler Murray for Deshaun Watson?
Bingo bango.
Craig, and here's the thing,
Kyler Murray, 2 first-round picks.
Here's the thing, and I've made this perfectly clear.
Why wouldn't you do that if you're them?
No, I'm with you. As confident as I've been in the Jets' ability to make a trade for Deshaun, which I remain having that confidence because of the assets, the pick, the cap space that they have. The game changer is a situation like that.
Yep.
The game changer is a team, if they so choose, saying, hey, Houston, look at this. We can offer you a young, burgeoning star quarterback.
That's right.
Not the hypothetical of Zach Wilson or even Sam Darnold or whomever you want to take. We've got a living, breathing quarterback right here that we can offer you. And I admit, Craig, if the Arizona Cardinals woke up this morning, and there are a few other teams that fit this, and they've decided, hey, we're going to go in on this, then, yeah, my confidence in the Jets' ability to get Deshaun takes a major hit. Because if it comes down to draft capital, the Jets are the leader of the pack with the Dolphins right there with them. If it comes down to young, ready-made quarterbacks, well, then there's a bunch of teams ahead of them.
I'll do you one better. Kyler Murray's from Bedford, Texas. Bedford, Texas is about 200 miles away from Houston, Texas.
Yeah.
If you're the Houston Texans, he's obviously in his rookie contract going into year 3.
Oh, yeah.
You're taking essentially a local guy, right? A local hero who has shown great strides in his first 2 years in the NFL on a team-friendly contract.
Yep.
You bring him back home. You get a couple first-round draft picks. And on the flip side, you reunite Deshaun Watson with D-Hop.
Yep.
You know he's talking to the front office. And for me, I didn't care where J.J. Watt was going to go because I knew the Jets and Giants weren't getting him.
Right.
So then I just watched kind of on the side as a football fan who's going to sign J.J. Watt and for how much money.
Right.
And he got $30 million over 2 years.
He did pretty well.
I think he got 30 guaranteed. Is that what it is?
I think like 26 guaranteed.
All right, so great. Good for him. But it's a message. And the message is the Cardinals think they're legitimate. The Cardinals think they are that much closer to vying for a Super Bowl.
Right.
And why wouldn't they think that?
Sure.
They damn near made the playoffs this past year. Obviously a disappointing ending. You have a quarterback available who has a relationship with your best offensive player. You have a young quarterback from Texas who, with all due respect to Kyler Murray, is the exact type of guy the Texans should trade for.
Oh, yeah.
If they're going to trade for picks and players. I think today is a bad day for the Jets' chances to get Deshaun Watson.
I tell you why.
I think it kills us. I really do.
I tell you why it doesn't worry me quite yet.
Worries me a lot. I'm going to have a bite of jambalaya.
All right. You have that jambalaya. Maybe I'll help calm you down a little bit. You're right. If that's offered to the Houston Texans, the Jets are host. I'm not disagreeing with you.
And why wouldn't they offer it?
Well, that's the part I hesitate on. Because he's 23 years old. He doesn't have that mega contract that Deshaun has, and he's their guy. We all grow an attachment to our guy.
Sure.
Even organizations grow an attachment to our guy. If Sam Darnold was developing right now, if Sam Darnold was everything we thought he was going to be, then we wouldn't be talking as much about trading Sam Darnold to Houston for Deshaun Watson. Kyler Murray's made the Pro Bowl. He's been in the league for 2 years. He has stayed healthy. He's made progress. They have the right head coach. They continue to put weapons around them. They had a jump this year in winning 8 games and being in the playoff race. I don't know if you blow that whole thing up. I just don't. So, yeah, and this isn't the only team that can do it. There are other teams in the league that can offer ready-made, young, star quarterbacks that are better offers than what the Jets have. I'm just very skeptical that a team like the Arizona Cardinals would just, after 2 years, say, all right, Kyler, we're done with you.
But it's not that. It's not. I don't think they'd be saying that. They're not saying that. And listen, Kingsbury, of course, has known the kid since he's 12 years old. That was a hand-picked guy. That's his guy. I get all that, right? Sometimes it's not saying we don't believe in you anymore.
This guy's better.
It's saying we have this rare opportunity to get a guy that we know for a fact is better.
But there are teams that still view
If you're
No,
Houston,
it's a no-brainer, bro.
To me, this ends it. Drop the cards. It's done.
I'm not arguing.
The Jets are not getting Deshaun Watson.
If the Arizona Cardinals are willing to do that.
Why wouldn't they be?
Because of the money component of it, the fact that Kyler hasn't made the money Deshaun Watson's made. That's the thing we always hear. When you have a young quarterback still on his rookie deal, when you have a young quarterback which still allows you the ability to trade for DeAndre Hopkins, the ability to sign J.J. Watt, Deshaun Watson makes over $30 million a year.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing that Kyler Murray's better. I don't even think Kyler Murray will develop into a better quarterback than Deshaun Watson. I don't think Arizona does it.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news on a beautiful Monday, a start to the month. March has begun, and it starts under a cloud. If that is because you as a Jet fan wanted Deshaun Watson in the worst possible way. Now, there's still good news for the Jets. We still have all those draft picks. We're still picking second. If you love one of the quarterbacks other than Lawrence, you can still go get him. You can still trade Darnold if you want. But here's the reality. And at some point, let's woman up, let's man up, and let's acknowledge the truth. The New York Jets are not getting Deshaun Watson.
I'm not buying
it's
that
dead.
yet. No. I still have my buzz.
You're in denial, sir.
Am I?
It's not just a river in Egypt, my friend.
What happened?
You are in denial.
Wait a second. I think I know what's happening. It's not Roberts-itis. It's Cartnitis.
No such thing.
Oh, really?
I always see the glass half full.
Do you?
Yes, I do.
You don't sound that way right now.
I am a glass half full guy. I was one of the guys that when the Knicks got to 500, went on the streets and started dancing.
Did you scream?
And when they went a game over 500, I went out on the streets, I started dancing.
Did you really?
Yes, I did.
Were you fully clothed?
Well, yes, I was clothed. Yes, it's cold outside.
Wait a second. Let me just text.
Yes.
And see how glass-filled you
Go
truly
ahead.
are.
I'm a full, half-full guy. Go.
If the season ended today, the
Which
New York
season
Knicks,
are we talking about?
The basketball season.
Okay.
The New York Knicks would be the 4 seed,
Four
correct?
seed. Come get some basketball noise.
Do you believe that when this regular season ends after 72 games, the New York Knicks will be the 4 seed?
Absolutely not.
Do you believe that Julius Randle,
Yes.
is the guy we'll see for the next 5 years if the Knicks extend him?
For the next 5 years?
5 to 7 years if they extend him. Is this MVP caliber Julius Randle the guy you'll have for the next 5 to 7 years?
I don't see why not.
Yeah, I don't believe you. I don't see
why not.
in your voice.
That's my main man right there, JR.
Do you think the New York Jets will acquire Deshaun Watson?
No shot at all. Done.
Glass half full.
We're off. That's done. That's a Dunsky.
So the Knicks will not be the 4 seed.
No, that's right.
I don't believe in your eyes that you think Randle is an MVP caliber player for the next 5 years. And then the Jets aren't getting Deshaun Watson. Could you be any more negative?
No. I could be much more negative. I don't think Julius Randle's an MVP candidate now.
Well, because they
he's
don't
an
have
all-star.
because they don't have enough wins. And I totally
but he's not
understand
an MVP candidate. Here, I have a question for you,
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Tidy Pants.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
Did you think that on March 1st, James Harden will have played more games for the Nets than Kevin Durant? How about that?
Hey, listen. I want you to look into my eyes when I say this because I really mean this.
Yeah.
I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Thank God the Brooklyn Nets traded for James Harden.
That was what?
Yeah, that's right.
Thank God?
Thank God the Brooklyn Nets traded for James Harden. I don't need to go into further detail. I don't think the listeners want to hear further detail. I just want to hold myself accountable because it's very important that we all hold ourselves accountable. Thank God. I went to sleep last night and I said, thank God Sean Marks traded every draft pick known to man and Jared Allen, who's been awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank God he did that for James Harden. That's fine. You can let it all marinate.
Yeah.
I'll get into further detail at a later date. I just want you to know that for anyone who wanted a mea culpa, you got your freaking mea culpa.
Are you aware of Kevin Durant's online battle now with Cash Doll?
I am aware of it, and I fully support KD. He is
Which
the
one?
real KD.
Which KD do you support?
Kevin Durant.
Not Cash Doll?
No.
Big feud over the KD initials.
What's going on between
Cash
them?
Doll said, your name's Kevin Durant, fam. Be Kevin Durant. I'm the original KD, Cash Doll.
Yeah, I think something's going on between them.
Be nice if Durant actually played basketball and got on Twitter.
He's dealing with a hamstring injury.
And all of a sudden, Kyrie's got another shoulder problem and a back problem.
That's called Saturday night, rest night on national TV.
You ain't lying.